That's not lighting up. Okay, now it is. Notice to the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located on the table near the entrance to the building and give it to either the chairman or council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. Individuals addressing the council should be respectful of others in their choice of words and actions. All cell phones, pages, and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. We'll have an invocation by Councilman Dirk Guidry and a pledge of allegiance by Councilman Carl Harding. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless all gathered here this evening and guide thoughts, words, and actions in the best interest of the entire Terrebonne Parish community. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We call a meeting to order of Wednesday, October 14, 2020, 6 p.m. Can I have a roll call? Ms. LeConte.
Mr. Harding.
Here.
Mr. Michelle.
Here.
Mr. Amity.
Here.
Ms. Domingue.
Here.
Mr. Darren Guidry.
Here.
Mr. Babin.
Here.
Mr. Dirk Guidry.
Here.
Mr. Charles Clare.
Here.
Mr. Navy.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you, ma'am. Look, y'all gonna have to bear with me. We got a new monitor here, and your names are very small, so give me a little bit of time. My eyes are not quite that good anymore. First items are approve the minutes of the regular council session held on September 9, 2020. Move Mr. Darren Guidry, second by Mr. John Amity. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Distribute the minutes of the regular council session held on September 23rd, 2020. We've done that. Approve the accounts payable list for 9/28/2020, 10/5/2020, and 10/12/2020. Move Mr. John Amity, second by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Any opposition? We'll show one abstention, Mr. Darren Guidry. Motion carries. Approve the manual checklist in August 2020. Move Mr. Jeremy Shell, second Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 1, general business. Designating the month of 2020, October 2020, as the Atchafalaya National Heritage Areas Month in the parish of Terrebonne. Mr. Darren Guidry.
Yes, with great pleasure, I acknowledge the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area Month, which says, whereas the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area created by Public Law 109-338, subsection B, is one of 49 nationally distinctive heritage areas designated by the United States Congress. And whereas the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area contains the Atchafalaya Basin, the largest river swamp in America, and is promoted as America's foreign country. And whereas the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area encompasses 14 parishes, including Terrebonne Parish, reflecting the unique culture and heritage evolving from life in and around the Atchafalaya Basin. And whereas the Atchafalaya Basin is considered the most productive swamp in the world and contributes substantially to the economy of Louisiana. And whereas the Atchafalaya Basin and the parishes within the heritage area house important wetlands that serve as buffers during storm surges. And whereas the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area offers exceptional opportunity for education, recreation, and tourism, so important to the economies of Louisiana and to the heritage area parishes, for which information on all these opportunities can be found at http://www.atchafalaya.org. And whereas the Office of Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, and the commissioners of the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area encourage and promote recreational, educational, and visitor activities during the month of October to raise awareness of the valuable resources, unique culture, and recreational opportunities located within the heritage area. And whereas Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser has duly proclaimed October 2020 as Atchafalaya Month in the state of Louisiana. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Terrebonne Parish Council, on behalf of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, hereby joins with Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and the Atchafalaya Trace Commission to designate the month of October as Atchafalaya National Area Heritage Month, and it is signed by our Council Chairman Steve Trosclair and Parish President Gordy Dove. I don't know if we have a representative from
Thank you. Mr. Justin LeMoyne. How about Carolyn Byrne? Y'all want to step up and receive this? Would y'all like to speak, say anything? You step up to the mic, state your name and address for the record, please. Hang on, I'm trying to get you lit up, but something. Okay,
There we go.
ahead.
Justin Lemoyne, 538 Arlington Avenue, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Executive Director of the Atchafalaya National Heritage Area. I just wanted to thank the parish and the president for acknowledging Atchafalaya National Heritage Area Month. As the proclamation states, if you visit atchafalaya.org, we have a brand new website that gives a lot of information about the 14 parishes, including Terrebonne, and we're really proud to represent areas like Terrebonne Parish and Homa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lemoyne. I have one light, Mr. Darren Guidry. Hang on.
Thank you, Mr. Lemoyne. And the Atchafalaya Heritage Area was very important to my family. My grandfather actually grew up on a houseboat in the Atchafalaya, and they would go back and forth trapping in different areas throughout the Atchafalaya until later on when he went into the shrimping business. So, my family knows all too well the Atchafalaya, and it's not only a heritage to the culture, to the people of Louisiana, but also a heritage to me. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Seeing no further lights, thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on. Item B is a resolution. Resolution of support for the Recreation District 2-3 millage. Mr. Darren Guidry. Hang on, it went off again.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, before we vote on this, I would like to read it into the record. The resolution says, whereas rec districts are established to supply support and opportunity for programs and services to facilitate the development of children into healthy and fully functioning adults, as well as help adults and elderly stay healthy. And whereas Recreation District 2-3 maintains and operates parks and recreation facilities for those purposes in Lisa Park, Broadmoor, Summerfield, Westgate, Southdown West, and other areas in which it lies among its playgrounds and ball fields, Homa's only skate park and Homa's only adaptive park. And whereas the previous parish council, of which many of us were a part, expanded the Recreation District 2-3 board to include 9 members with staggered terms to better represent and be responsive to the residents of its district. And whereas Recreation District 2-3 collects a 5 mil ad valorem tax that is used to operate and maintain these parks and recreation facilities, as well as expand offerings within neighborhood and community parks for the enjoyment of its residents and the improvement of Homa's quality of life. And whereas Recreation District 2-3's 5 mil tax is the lowest among all 11 rec districts in Terrebonne, with the highest being 15 mils and the second lowest being 7 mils. And whereas the parish is assuming all duties to construct, maintain, and operate the Bayou Country Sports Park, freeing up every dollar of Recreation District 2-3 tax revenues to be dedicated for neighborhood and community parks, benefiting the residents of the district. And whereas the Recreation District 2-3 board voted to use funds from the 5 mil tax to improve neighborhood and community parks, including a new bike path, nature trail, dog park off of Valhalla Boulevard, outdoor games, workout stations, and landscaping for Summerfield Park, parking improvements, shade structures, picnic tables, outdoor games, workout stations, play equipment and landscaping for Westgate Park, play equipment, shade structures, and landscaping for Cottage Drive Park, gym improvements, and a new neighborhood park for Lisa Park, shade structures, outdoor games, improvements, and landscaping for Broadmoor Park, and improvements to other areas of the district. And whereas the district's 5 mil tax expires December 31st of this year, and a renewal measure is on the November 3rd ballot, giving the largest amount of voters an opportunity to decide the future of recreation in the district. And whereas a defeat of this tax renewal would defund the recreation district for this foreseeable future, halt park improvements, and exhaust the fund balance of the district. Now therefore be it resolved by the Terrebonne Parish Council on behalf of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government that it does hereby support the work of Recreation District 2-3 in providing quality facilities to use by children and adults, and encourages residents of the district to educate themselves about the tax renewal on November 3rd, 2020, and exercise their right to vote for the future of recreation. And I'd like to make the motion to approve this resolution.
You have a motion, Mr. Darren Guidry, second, Mr. Gerald Michelle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, before we vote, let's not vote yet. I have a couple more lights. I see it. Ms. Domay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for legal. Is this ethical for us as a council to pass a resolution in support of a tax? It seems that this isn't something that's happened in the past. There's been other instances. There was a school board tax that this council did not use their power up here in the council chambers to endorse. So I'm just curious why this is happening now. I know this has been very contentious, and it doesn't sit well with me that we're using this council to endorse something that the people of Terrebonne Parish should be making a decision for themselves.
Well, I don't read it as an endorsement of the tax. It's been written to provide.
It says a resolution of support.
It says a resolution number 20. That's just how they put it on the agenda. But when you read the actual resolution, the resolution is strictly, where I read this, is informational and is not saying to support the tax. It's just bringing information to the voters that the voters can likely, by seeing this program, can see what's going on. I mean, it's advising them, for example, that the Bayou Sportsplex has been removed by the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, and it's going to be strictly run by the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government. That's informational. It says all the parks that the tax is going to be used to support. So it's, I mean, I view this as informational in nature. The resolution itself.
So,
and which is legal to give out information, concerning a candidate or a proposition.
and I appreciate that, but are we going to start doing this for every tax that comes up?
Well, you're asking the wrong person. You'd have to, that goes to your fellow council
Right.
members.
And,
The question
that's
is,
what I'm asking to the council.
the question
Are we gonna
is
start
this
doing forever?
resolution, your question to me, is the resolution as read
Right.
illegal? In my opinion, this is informational only. It is not in support in telling anybody to support that they support the tax. It's only providing information, the substance of the resolution.
I appreciate that. So to my fellow council members, are we going to start, is this going to be a precedent that we're going to do this every time a tax comes up, support it or not support it? And
I
just
would
think
not say pay support. Are we going to provide information about the tax?
Correct.
Okay,
correct. Right.
is the council going to provide information concerning a proposed tax when it comes up? And I don't know how you can answer that, because that's on a case-by-case basis.
Right, and so what I'm asking my fellow council members is, I think this is a slippery slope, and I don't think we should publicly come out for or against or say anything about this. The people of Terrebonne Parish are well educated on this, and they can continue to educate themselves without us getting involved. Thank you.
Mr. Navy.
Once again, I am not for or against this tax. I'm for democracy, and I agree with Jessica. Let the people decide. If it's informational, why we need to do a resolution? We could just put information out there and just say, this is what this tax is about. But that is, like I said, I'm not for or against it. I believe in democracy. I won't support this resolution because I do believe in the process. I will say this, though. In reading some literature or information I saw today that was given to me in reference to this particular millage tax, they reference it to defunding recreation as defunding the police. And that's something that we need to stop playing this national crap and let the process take place. You're going to deceive voters. You're going to deceive people and make them think now we have a problem with our police department or something. And I know you some people that read that know where I'm going with that, but just keep it where it is. Let the people decide. Let democracy take its course. Once again, I'm not for or against it. I won't support this because people got to go vote. And if someone wants to support this tax, they will. If they're not, but if you're talking about informational Jews, why we need a resolution for information? I'm not asking you that because it's the council. This ain't a legal matter. This is about the council. So that is just my 2 cents in it. And I just wanted to make sure we understand one another with that. But please stop being misleading to the public, man. It's sad.
We wouldn't ask the question, so, no. Mr. Michel?
Yeah, thank you. And, I'm not pleased with the public use of the word defunding either, but I think the two things that the public need to know is that this is the sole source of funding for recreation in District 2-3. Only source. And secondly, we're doing a lot of quote education. Some of it is agreeable to some people. Some of it is not. The very introduction of this consolidation task force that we have is a statement about is saying what you believe, and a lot of this disagreement on whether or not this tax should pass comes from those who believe recreation should be consolidated. I do not believe recreation should be consolidated, and those who do are hoping this tax does not pass because they don't want the funding. Rec 2-3 needs the funding. If we decide to consolidate at some point, that's a whole nother ball of wax. But Rec 2-3 has this as its only source of funding, and I believe that we need to get all the information that we can get out about the good that they have done and about the need for this funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michel. Mr. Babin?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Each and every one of us up here ran for an election, and it was our responsibility to go out and get those constituents to vote for us to be up here. I have no problem with each and every one of us saying constantly up here, go vote. It's a privilege to vote in this country. It's a right, but it's more of a privilege to vote. To isolate it and to go after one particular thing, I really have a problem with, because it makes it look like Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government is endorsing this tax. And I agree with everyone that spoke before, whether you're for it or against it. I think it sends a signal that we don't want to set a precedent down. Mr. Guidry and I sat on a commission when a tax came up for the levies that this parish has benefited from tremendously, and we never once got up here and asked and passed a resolution in support of it. We just told people that it's your responsibility to go out and vote. So with that, I think to answer your question, Jessica, you will not see me from here on out ever making a resolution in support or against a tax. I don't think that's our responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Harding?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Consolidation is one thing, but the right name for the task force that was created in reference to regulations is modernization. Defunding is kind of misleading, but when we have a parish-wide recreational tax, we have about 115,000 people in Terrebonne Parish. I think whether it fails or not, the responsibility of the citizens of Terrebonne Parish is to take care of the recreation of all districts and all people. Again, I am agreeing with Mr. Navy, who said he believes in democracy, even though democracy on my shoulders have many times actually seemed as if it has failed me. But I believe in the process, and then a yay or nay vote here, having everyone here to say yay or nay in reference to supporting or not supporting. And as I understood, we were rather premature before our discussion, that it seems as if that the choir is singing quite loudly against this particular endeavor that Mr. Guidry actually is presenting to us. Therefore, I'm in alliance to agree with the rest of my colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Mr. Dove.
I would like to make sure the public understands this Saturday you will be voting for Recreation 2-3, which is Highway 311, Val High, Broadmoor, Summerfield, Sugar Mill Point, Westgate, the lakes, etc. This is a rededication. It is not a new tax, a new millage. It is a 5 mil renewal. It is the lowest in Terrebonne Parish, and it's for 5 mills, and it's a rededication. It's not a new tax. Don't let anyone fool you, give you any misinformation. This is the same thing they've been doing for years. It's a renewal, and this is to keep up all the parks and fields and basketball courts and everything in your district. And it is for the children of Terrebonne Parish and, of course, the parents who pay the taxes. So I just want to give that out information on coming up this Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dove. Mr. Darren Guidry.
Yes, and I appreciate the comments of my fellow council members, and I was definitely trying to address those concerns when we drafted this to basically support the work of Rec 2-3, which I think we all support the work of Rec 2-3, and encourage residents of the district to educate themselves about the tax renewal, which I think we all want to encourage people to educate themselves. So the two things that this resolution actually does, and again, what I've learned in resolutions, you don't read the whereases, you read the now therefores, because that's really what the resolution's all about. The whereases are just basically fact statements. And the now therefore just says we support the work of Recreation District 2-3. And we encourage residents of the district to educate themselves about the tax and exercise their rights to vote. So we're just encouraging them to do that. There is much misinformation out there about Recreation District 2-3. A lot of misinformation. And an encouragement by us to encourage the voters to seek out additional information, I think is really important. It doesn't sound like anybody up here is opposed to Recreation District 2-3 and the funding for District 2-3. I think the discussion up here is more whether or not the council, whether this is perceived to be an endorsement of the tax and whether the council wants to get into that area or not. I know ultimately, if this fails, the parish will be in a situation to figure out what do we do in that particular area with a rec district that has no money but has public spaces that need to be maintained. So eventually, if this fails, it will come before this council to try to figure out what do we do? Do we close the parks? Do we shutter them? Do we remove play places? Do we wait till they break and then remove the play places? Because, they might be money left over if this fails to cut the grass for 6 or 7 years, but literally that would be about it. We would then be having to face as a council. So, I put this forward to see if the council was willing to provide information to the voters and ask them to seek out their own information. That's what I'm asking tonight, if they do that. But I just want to make it clear, anybody watching, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody up here is debating the value of, the essence of Rec 2-3's tax. We're just debating whether or not we want to pass a resolution or just stay completely out of it. I just want to be clear on that. But that's why it was done on those two things: support of the work of Recreation 2-3 and encouraging residents of the district to educate themselves and exercise their right to vote. Those are the three items. So I'll defer to my other council members.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Dirk Guidry.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you I'm for or against the tax for Rec 2-3. This should just be an informational deal where we come out and say we have a tax going up for Rec 2-3 or whatever it is, and say, inform yourself, and the election is such and such a date. Myself, Danny, and John Davy was on this council when we went for a half cent sales tax for the levy district. We came up here, we didn't say we were in support of this. All we did was inform the people, and I think that's what our job should be, is to inform the people. But let me just say, Darren, how you got this written up. This resolution is saying that we support, that this council supports it. It says, resolution of support for the Recreation District 2-3 millage. So you right here saying that we support the Rec 2-3 millage, that this council is passing to support it. No, all we're here for is to give them information, to let them know, like you said, how many parks. But all these people that live in Rec 2-3, they know how many parks they got in that park. All we here for is say, look, we got an election coming up on November the 3rd. It's in dire need that you go out and vote and inform yourself on this tax. And that's it, case and closed. We shouldn't have resolutions in supporting any tax, or we should not be able to come up here and tell anybody who we support to vote for. That's the American way to do it, and we should not be doing resolutions like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Ms. Domingue.
I think Mr. Guidry just said everything that I was about to say. I'm not in support of this. I'm not going to support this tonight. But just because I'm voting no for this and my fellow council members are voting no for this resolution does not mean that we either support or not support this tax. And I do believe that the people of Terrebonne Parish are educated enough to be able to make that decision for their own. And so, yes, I do not think that we as a council need to have this resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Domingue. Mr. Danny Bavin.
Just one more thing.
Okay. Well, okay.
Just one more thing. We have been talking about I've been off the council for 4 years and was on it 4 years prior to that. And we've been talking about recreation for 20 plus years in this parish. And if somebody doesn't know about Rec 2-3 or Rec 11 or Rec 9 or Rec 4 by this time, they don't care about voting. I agree with what Mr. Guidry said, Ms. Domingue. I agree with the idea that we need to give information out. But the next time, I represent 4 council districts, 4, 9, 10, and 11. I'm not going to ask for resolutions when their taxes come up. I will inform people about elections. So, again, it's not that we don't want the people to know. It's just it makes it look like this council is endorsing a tax, and I don't think that we have the right to do that as elected officials. That's my own personal opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Darren Guidry.
You know,
I'm sorry, Mr. Babin.
I think tonight this has really served its purpose as far as we have read this into the record. We have shared information with people watching and looking at our council meetings. A vote on this is not necessary because the information in it is factual and still valid. I will still encourage people to seek out information, and I'll still encourage people to educate themselves and to go out and vote. But as far as a vote on this or not, I don't want this to be I don't want any of our council members to vote against a procedure and for the general public to be perceived as though that's a vote against Rec 2-3 or the job that they do or the tax. So with that, I would like to pull my motion and really just let this rest and serve the purpose it did, and the fact that we've read it into the record, we shared the information, and the people kind of know what's at stake with this tax. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Carl Harding.
Yes, in essence, I think we all have the message, and I think we're relaying the message properly to the citizens of Terrebonne Parish. Mr. Darren Guidry and I would work good together. He's a great colleague for me. I'm not saying I'm for and against him. We have conversations that are between two men, two colleagues. And it's the same way that when you go and press the button behind the lever, the conversation between two men is between two men. I'm not saying I'm not for or against the recreation district because man, it's a conversation between me and whoever I want to relinquish my ideas to. But then I think also the bottom line is I think people do not want to be forced into a situation to actually put them under certain circumstances. So at the end of the day, I appreciate you actually making that attempt, and the citizens of Terrebonne Parish just learn the lesson, get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. And seeing no further lights, the motion has been withdrawn by Mr. Darren Guidry, so there's no further action needs to be taken. Motion to go to public hearing, Mr. Danny Barrett, second, Mr. Gerald Michelle, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. 6:30 public hearings. Item A is an ordinance to revise certain portions of Chapter 6, Article 6, and Appendix A, Part 2, and Appendix B of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances pertaining to small cell wireless facilities and fees. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion closed, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Dirk Guidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Bear with me with these glass. I can't really hear who's moving and who's seconding. So just bear with me. Item B is an ordinance to authorize the use of building and land located at 424 Roussel Street, Houma, Louisiana, by the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, TPCG, to Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, TPSO. Authorize the parish president to execute any and all intergovernmental agreements and any and all other documents necessary for TPSO to use the four reference premises to terminate the existing intergovernmental agreement with the TPSO and to provide for other matters relative thereto. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion closed, Mr. Darren Guidry. Second, Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Darren Guidry. Second, Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item C is an ordinance to authorize parish president to execute on behalf of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government an intergovernmental agreement with Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office to establish funding obligations for keeping and feeding prisoners and to provide for other matters relative thereto at the parish jail located at 3211 Grand Caillou Road, Houma, Louisiana. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion closed, Mr. Dirk Guidry. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Dirk Guidry. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item D is an ordinance to authorize the use of building and land located at 500 School Street, Houma, Louisiana, by the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, TPCG, to Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, TPSO. Authorize the parish president to execute any and all intergovernmental agreements and any and all other documents necessary for TPSO to use the four reference premises to terminate the existing cooperative endeavor agreement with the TPSO and to provide for other matters relative thereto. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion closed, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Darren Guidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Darren Guidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carried. Item E is an ordinance to rename the Carroll Street Bridge crossing Bayou Black to the Mr. Lawless Gibson Sr. Memorial Bridge, to authorize the installation of appropriate signs and to address other matters relative thereto. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion to close, Mr. Carl Harding. Second, Mr. Darren Guidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Carl Harding. Second, Mr. Darren Guidry. We got a couple. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. And we have a light, Mr. Harding.
Yeah, Mr. Gibson, he's in the audience. I would like for him to, if he choose to, come before the public and say something.
Mr. Gibson, state your name and address, please.
My name is Lloyd Gibson, P.O. Box 319, Gibson, Louisiana, 70356. It's an indeed pleasure for me to be here tonight to thank Mr. Hardy, and all those that voted to name that bridge after my father. I think it's long overdue. He's been a pillar of the community for all my life, 70-some years. So it's an honor and a privilege for that bridge to be named after him. And we do thank you from the family of Lourdes Gibson very much.
Thank you, Oli. We have a couple of lights. You want to stand? Hold up. Mr. Hardy, you finished? You want to keep?
Yes, Mr. Gibson, also, actually, you hold public office also, right?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been holding public office?
41 years.
41 years. And actually, in this area, it's rather dear to me. All of my family is right across the bayou. That's, that's not living. They're in that cemetery at St. James. So I've been knowing the Gibson family for a number of years. And when he first came to me, the consideration, of course, I told him I had to do some research on it, and then there was no opposition. And with that being no opposition, I saw no problem with that.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Mr. Darren Guidry.
And Mr. Lloyd, unfortunately, I wasn't able to know your father when he was here. But I've heard a whole lot of stories, and he was a very special person. And so I was excited to second this motion and to vote for it. I think it was well deserved, and
I appreciate it.
It's time. Thanks, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Danny Babin.
I'd like to thank your father for all he did all those years, but I'd also like to thank you for 41 years of service to Terrebonne Parish.
Thank you, sir.
As an elected official. That's outstanding.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Dove.
Mr. Lloyd,
Yes, sir.
I'm glad this day finally came, and I want to thank you. From day one when I was in office, you've been pushing to get what used to be called the Carroll Street Bridge done. Then we went in there and pushed to try to get it as high as possible so a boat could get underneath it.
Right.
And it finally after pushing it, concerted effort by others, and it finally became a reality. And it's a beautiful bridge, and I want to thank you for bringing it to our attention and naming it the Mr. Lawson Gibson Senior Memorial Bridge. God bless you and your family for all you have done down Gibson and Terrebonne Parish. And God bless your father, and God bless the bridge. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd.
I want to thank Mr. Gardy. We've been friends for quite some time now. But we got the beautiful bridge in Terrebonne Parish, I think. Thank you all.
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Moving on, item F, an ordinance to amend the Terrebonne Parish Code of Terrebonne Parish by adding to Chapter 18, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 4, Operation of Vehicles, Division 2, Parish Section 18-87, to establish a four-way stop at the intersection of Alma and DeRusso Street, to provide for the installation of said signs, and to provide for other matters relative thereto. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion to close, Ms. Domingue. Second, Mr. Darren Guidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Ms. Domingue. Second, Mr. Darren Guidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item G, an ordinance to amend Section 82 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinance to allow certain use of approved fireworks during specified holidays in Terrebonne Parish, to provide license and permit requirements for the public display of fireworks, to enact Section 8-3, to provide regulation and licenses for sales of such fireworks, to provide for related matters. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion to close, Mr. Danny Babin, second. Somebody on this side, Mr. Dirk Guidry, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Jessica, you want to speak after the vote?
Yes, sir.
Hang on. Do you want to finish voting or you want to speak before?
I wanted to speak before, please.
Okay, go ahead.
I had a email from someone in the public who said that they couldn't be here tonight and wanted a speaker card. However, I apologize to that person because I cannot find that email now. So I'm sorry about that, but I'll go ahead and we can move forward with this.
Okay, all in favor to close? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion adopt, Mr. Dirk Gidry. Second, Mr. Danny Babin, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item H, an ordinance to amend Chapter 19, Article 1 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances by adding Section 19, protection of levies, and to provide for related matters relative thereto. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion to close, Mr. Dirk Gidry. Second, Mr. Danny Babin, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Dirk Gidry, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. All right. Item I, an ordinance to declare a surplus 9 tax properties of various percentages from various years to acquire authorization to dispose of said properties in accordance with LARS 47:2196. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion to close, Mr. Babin. Second, Ms. Domang. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Babin. Second, Ms. Domang. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item J is an ordinance to amend the 2020 adopted operating budget and 5-year capital outlay budget with Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. Home of Downtown Development, $28,098. Homer Police Department, LA Commission on Law Enforcement Grant, $58,506. OCD Hurricane Isaac, negative $108,755. West Side Boulevard Phase 1, $3,700. Ashland Wetland Assimilation, $12,281. East Side Safe Room, $66,340. Safe Room EOC, $1,517. West Park Sidewalks, 0. Prospect Boulevard Sidewalks, 0. Bonanza Pump Station, $1,750. Coto Smith Ridge Bar Screen, $40,927. Upper Localia Pump Station, $65,311. Upper Ward 7 Mitigation, $159,000. Oyster Bed Surge Protection, $100,000. Public once. Public twice. Public three times. Motion closed, Mr. Gerald Michelle. Second, Mr. John Amity. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Michelle. Second, Mr. Amity. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item K, the proposed 2021 budget and 5-year capital outlay budget. Motion to continue. Mr. Danny Babin, second, Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to go in regular order, Mr. Babin. Second, Mr. Amity. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to move to staff reports. Consider the Parish President Gordon Dove's recommendation to appoint Clay Knocken as the Director of Solid, Hazardous, and Recycling Waste Department. We got a call for unanimous, Mr. Danny Babin. Okay, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Nake. You want to speak? Consider Parish President Gordon Dove's recommendation to appoint Harley M. Papa as an Assistant Parish Attorney. Move, Mr. Gerald Michelle. Second, Mr. Darren Gidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. We'll show one abstention. I'm sorry, we got a light. Mr. John Navy and Mr. Danny Babin, you have the
I
light.
voted on that. I just wanted to say something about the last thing. Clay may not want to speak, but his actions speak louder than any words because he does a great job for Terrebonne Parish and looking forward to him doing even more in this new department. Thank you.
No doubt. Thanks a lot. Okay, item C. Consider Parish President Gordon Dove's recommendation to appoint Derek J. as part-time Assistant Parish Attorney. Thank y'all. Who moved it? Mr. Darren Gidry? Second, Mr. Jeremy Sherrill. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. We show one abstention, Mr. John Davy. And we have one light, Mr. Darren Gidry.
I don't think Mr. Burson J is here, is he? I never miss Mr. Burson. I've never met Mr. Burson J, but his father and I have done a lot with the fire department, so I'm looking forward to working together with Mr. Burson J. Of course, his father, Mr. Tony Burson J, is the Bayou Black Fire Chief. So I'm looking forward to working with his son, and congratulations to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Darren. Item D is an update on the pump stations, generators, and other projects. Mr. Toops.
Thank you, Councilman Trosclair. Before I give my report, President Dove would like to give a brief presentation.
Hold on, Mr.
Voted
Dove,
to
okay, your light's on.
read something on behalf of her, on behalf of the mill rededication for the weekend. Information only.
Say it again. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Ms. Mullen.
Okay, thank you. So on November 3rd, 2020 ballot, there are two parish-wide propositions. These propositions are for a rededication of 1 mill each from the waste collection and disposal millage and the health unit millage. This rededication will be for the purpose of improving, operating, providing, and maintaining public safety personnel, facility, and sites within this parish. This rededication revenue can be used for juvenile detention, emergency preparedness, Terrebonne Parish Jail, police, and fire. This rededication will provide a dedicated revenue source that can only be used for public safety purposes. And if approved, this will not increase property tax bills. It is simply taking an already collected property tax and allowing it to be used for a different purpose. And I think we have both of them up on the screen for y'all.
Parish-wide proposition number 1 of 2. It's a mill rededication for repurpose of the revenue, and parish proposition number 2 of 2, which is a rededication, not a new mill. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Mr. Dove. Mr. Navy.
No, I won't speak after he's finished.
Have to? Oh, okay. How about Ms. Doman? You want to speak now?
Yes.
Okay.
Candace, is there any way that you can email that to us? That was this verbiage here, because I've had several people ask me about this, and so I'd like something that possibly I could just give to people or email to people, so that I can provide that education to them.
Yes, ma'am. I'll email the what I read to you and the two propositions. It's in one document. I can send that all to you tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll send it to every council member. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Doman. Okay, Ms. Toops.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you refer to the reports that were given to you, On our emergency generators, all 23 are operable. They were ran as of yesterday with no reported issues at this time. Going on to the pump report, we have 199 out of 201 pumps in the parish are fully functional for a 99% efficiency. The changes from last council's report is on D4, the Lower Little Caillou Lashbrook Pump Station. We did receive the approval from the Louisiana Statewide Flood Control, and the bids were sent out. The bids are due in on October 27th at 2:00 p.m. On pump station D13 Industrial Boulevard, Norris and Boudreaux is working on the capping of the sheet piles. The fitting is completed and the welding is in progress. We presently have one 36-inch diesel operated pump that's down because of a broken line shaft, and the pump is presently in the process of being removed for repair. On D19 Lower Bayou de Large, this is a project we're working with the levee district. The levee district did receive the check valves. They're on site and they're ready for installation at the end of the discharge pipes. But this pump station is 100% operational if we need it. At D35 Gibson, we've been trying to get another Randolph gearbox from a vendor. After weeks and weeks, they told us that this particular gearbox is no longer manufactured. So we're in the process of sourcing out another gearbox. We're probably going to be getting another gearbox from Duran. On D51 Lerat Street, the design by All South Engineering has been completed, and we're scheduling a meeting to meet with them to discuss the project implementation, which basically means that we're going to be adding retention area to that station. On D69 Pointe-Chien Wildlife and Fisheries, the pump has been repaired, reinstalled, and fully functional. This job is complete. On the Montague levee lift, we've temporarily put this project on hold until the rainwater from the Delta hurricane system dries off. On Savannah Road Phase 3 levee project, this is from the Deputy Milton Ontario Court west to the pipeline crossing over Savannah Road. The levee alignment has been surveyed, and the right-of-way for the new levee is 70% cleared and grubbed. This is a stretch of about a half mile along Savannah Road. I've attached a couple of pictures to give you an idea of what's going on with the Little Bayou Black Pump Station. The first picture is a picture facing southeast. It shows the bays for the pump suction. It shows the building for the pumps themselves, and then off to the far left is the bay for the radial gate. The next picture is a picture facing southwest, and again it shows the pump station from a different angle. If you look to the left, the pilings that you see standing up are for the discharge pipes. The blue structure on the left is the actual radial gate. Now that's not the final position of the radial gate. If you look at the third picture, you see the conveyance bay on the right-hand side, and the blue radial gate actually fits into the curved section recesses on either side of the wall. We spoke to the engineer and the contractor. The latest we got from them was a estimated completion date of December the 3rd this year. And that completes my report unless anyone has any specific questions.
Thank you, Mr. Toots. We do have a light. Mr. Navy.
Yes, I noticed that you didn't mention about the L.D. Joan Charles road and project that y'all did out there. I'm understanding, I didn't go, but I heard from Steve Ponvier and a whole bunch of other people that it was some great work out there. But I think you all deserve the kudos on that one, Mr. Dub, too, with the administration and the process that you all had to take to do that, which won't cost the parish, I'm understanding, any money. It'll be reimbursable, let me put it to you like that, by the federal government. Also, a little concerned about suggestions being made about moving cemeteries from out that area, but Mr. Dub definitely assured me that that won't be happening, and that's one reason why he wanted to put that road there. And I think actually I got that on the council for the next council meeting, but I wanted to give you all kudos for that. That was a great work, great job, and I'm understanding that thing is beautiful out there. So I wanted to commend y'all on that.
Yes, sir. What we actually did, we reclaimed all the rocks and the limestone that was washed off on the south side of the road. We pulled it in, we pulled it along the shoulder of the road, and then we capped it off with concrete to keep it from washing away. And even though it was topped off, it did do some very, very good protection of the road.
So I'm understanding that whatever executive order that President Trump signed or whatever, that would ensure that the parish will get 100% or majority of that money back?
I believe it's 75-25. Is that right, Candace? Yes, sir, 75-25.
Man, great. That's great work. Thank you all for that. And the people, I'm understanding the people in that community is appreciative. I actually have some relative that's Native American out that way, and they was concerned about some things that was being said. But like I said, I addressed that at next council. But thank you all, because those people feel a little better ease about some things out there. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Navy. You stole my thunder. So Allergy Jones is in my district. And I was going to mention it, but you did a good job. But I do want to commend all the Public Works department. I mean, I think at one time, between our machines and contract machines, I think we had like 7 excavators out there scooping up rocks and stuff. And what we've done now, what we've got done at this point, is basically just reclaim what was already there and put it back in place. And we are going to come back later on, and well, not later on, we've got the money appropriated. I've been working on this with President Dub for about 1.5 years to try to get this done, get the money to do it. We're going to actually build that levee up, probably, hopefully, to 5-6 foot. So it's not really a levee, it's a rock barrier that stops the initial rush of water across, which actually undermines the road and the shoulders. So this little project, by pulling it out, proved that what our ultimate goal is definitely going to work. So thanks a lot, President Dove, Mike Toops, all your people, all the people in the Parish Public Works that was out there doing it, because I mean, they worked straight through the whole storm event. I mean, being it wasn't a bad storm, they never stopped. So good job, and thanks a lot. Mr. W, you had your light on? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, we're going to go to public question address the council. I have a couple of speaker cards. Mr. Eric Kallmeyer wants to speak on from the Coast Guard. Just give me 1 second. Okay, state your name and address, please.
Eric Killmeyer, 100 Belmere Luxury Court, apartment 913. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Eric Killmeyer, and I'm a member of the United States Coast Guard. I am stationed here in Houma, and I work next to the post office building on Lafayette Street. I've come here tonight to address a relatively new issue that our members have been facing recently. That issue is the lack of free and safe parking around our workplace. We are stationed here in Houma by orders of the federal government. Our primary jobs are to inspect commercial vessels that operate in the oil field industry, which employ our neighbors in this community. We also respond to oil spills in the area which pose a threat to pollute our community's waterways. Many of our duties require our members to drive as far as areas of Grant and Isle and Fourchon several days a week. Our predicament begins due to the parking meters on most of the public parking spaces surrounding our building. Because our job requires us to be away from the office for long periods of time, we are unable to feed these meters while we are gone. Our only other alternatives are to park blocks away from the office or to overpay for privately owned parking. This only became an issue recently when we were informed that a Coast Guard placard would no longer prevent us from getting parking tickets at these meters. The neighboring buildings, such as St. Francis Catholic School and the U.S. Post Office, have parking lots for their employees. A free parking lot is provided for the community to park in while they utilize the post office. In our opinion, the availability of parking for the surrounding businesses and the lack of the demand for parking eliminates the need for these parking meters. We ask you to consider the money brought in to the city by the parking meters surrounding our office and compare it to the services provided to your community by our employees. Marine Safety Unit HOMA is home to over 80 active duty service members and employs 5 civilians who all inject their income into the local economy and spend hundreds of hours volunteering throughout the community through events such as the Southdown Marketplace, the local food bank, and picking up trash through the Keep Terrebonne Beautiful organization. And when a storm threatens the area, our Coast Guard's men can often be found filling up sandbags behind the Civic Center for all our fellow community members. As a law enforcement-based organization, we understand the importance of pursuing change through proper channels. For this reason, I encourage the council to consider either removing the meters around the office or just allowing our members to once again utilize a placard on our window and provide us a safe place to park without worrying about our car being broken into while we are away doing our job in the field. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We have a couple of lights.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Gordon Dove, Parish President. When y'all originally started moving your people down here, we did designate that other spot, but you're all right, it's a couple of blocks away. Now, Mr. Abel, what I would like you to do, now that he's brought it up, because we really looked at this a while back and it just faded away like everything else, because we've got to, let's see if we can remove the meters, put parking only for the Coast Guard of those meters, and bring it before this council for approval. And you know, if we can do that, let's see if we can put together an ordinance to bring back to this council to the effect of what he's wanting, because we had worked on that problem when y'all first moved in, and like I said, we did offer that other one parking at no charge, but it is 2 by 3 blocks away, you know, so we'll see what we can do about removing the meters in that vicinity and where we can put up parking only. The problem we had with removing it before was the only reason the meters are downtown is because the downtown merchants want them, because they don't want someone to park further downtown. I'm talking Main Street, and somebody leave their cars forever, you know, for a long time. But at your area, that's nothing to do with downtown. So I don't have a problem with removing them. I'd be happy to, and we'll bring something to this council, and we'll work on it. But I'm glad you came and brought it back to our attention. We did look at it at one time, but as things go, it just nothing was done. So we will try to correct it. We will bring it to this council for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service to the people of the United States and Terrebonne Parish in Louisiana. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your support.
Let me interject something here, if you don't mind, for a second. Eric, a question.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all have, with the meters, do y'all have problems finding places to park? When you say you got 80 people, I know we ain't 80 meters around that building.
Some of the how to say this? Some of the free areas around that area aren't very.
Right.
They're kind of sketchy, lower income areas, and our members' cars have been broken into. So
Well, my concern is if we take the meters out, then you're gonna have public trying to jam up in there and park, and y'all will probably lose because they don't want to pay either. Okay,
if you look out there during the day, no one is parked.
but I don't
Parking
have a right. But I think why can't we go back to recognizing you guys tags, and that would solve the issue. We don't have to remove meters, and if nobody's there, then someone would have to pay a civilian. Civilian would have to pay to park.
And
I don't
we're not
think
trying
we
to
really
utilize.
need to pull the meters out if we can recognize your tags.
Yeah, we had a Coast Guard tag, and we're not trying to park everywhere around the town. We just want to park at our workspace.
Because
during the day.
look, I work with the I go to that building pretty regular because I'm in a boat business, and I know that how many people y'all have there, and y'all don't have that many parking spaces even nearby without going across the big parking lot.
Mr. Chairman, what was the question?
Okay, my point was, I don't think we need to remove the meters, because if you take the meters out and make free parking, then you'll have everybody else trying to park there. Even though you designated people going to park, but if you leave the meters there, they didn't have any issues as long as we were recognizing their tags. So if we just continue telling PD to recognize that way they're not limited to where they can park. If that spot there's another meter down the road that they can park in.
Are they they're supposed to recognize y'all tag. Are they recognizing it?
They were, but there was nothing in writing. So one day, we all got tickets. And
Okay, we'll straighten that part of it out.
Yeah,
yes.
I think leaving the meters would be a better alternative to actually probably assure you more local spots than just taking the meters out and then just recognize their tags.
Well, either that, or if we was to put a bag over it and put Coast Guard parking only, and we
Well, if
enforce
nobody's
that.
if they're not parking there and it's open, heck, I mean at 2:00 in the afternoon, their car's already all parked and there's an empty spot. Let's take the quarter.
Well, but the problem is, I think that's what their problem is. They come and go. So that if the parking space is not dedicated, somebody pulls in there, they have no place to park. So I think, am I right? Y'all need it designated.
Mostly, the placards were working on. We're finding a spot, but if we can just tell the person giving the tickets not to give us tickets, that would be.
Gordy.
We'll make sure that happens.
What they're doing, they all come to work in their own vehicles. When they go on the job, they go 3, 4.
Yeah, we're not moving.
So they go in one vehicle, so the other cars stay there. While they're gone, the meter runs out, and then they get tickets. They're starting to get tickets. But they got a Coast Guard tag on their dashboard or hanging, however they do it. Then we could, make sure they don't get those tickets.
Well, that's what we had come up with before. When the captain of the port first moved in here, the one, I know y'all have changed them out since then. If y'all had a sticker, United States Coast Guard card, a sticker, whatever, then you would not be ticketed. If someone did ticket you, they did it in violation of our orders. So we can straighten that out, but I understand what the chairman said.
I mean, I don't know if we need to do this.
We'll get it straight for you.
Do we need to do this through resolution or ordinance? We can certainly do it, but I think we can just.
That's what I'm saying. We may not need one, but if we need one, we bring it here. But we'll find what solution we need to straighten it out.
Thank you.
Okay. You need to say something, Jules? Legally?
I think we can pass a motion to approve special placards for the Coast Guard.
Well, you already got them, don't you?
We have placards.
But once we pass the motion and put it in writing, then Gordy can send it, the parish administration can provide it to the Houma Police Department to recognize those placards.
Well, either way, I mean, we don't have to do anything.
Is the
we don't have to
motion
do anything
in order
tonight.
right
We can
now?
correct it tonight.
You can't do a motion?
No.
But you got to do it to the next one?
Yeah, we do it at the next meeting that way, but we can still correct the problem tonight. I mean, tomorrow morning, Gordy can correct that problem.
Yeah, and then we'll, that may be a good idea, is to pass a motion in a couple of weeks. That way, it's given to the police department. They know it's the wishes of this government and the council that they do not ticket you. everyone doesn't listen all the time. So that helps them recognize the importance of it. So I think that's a
Okay.
good idea, Judith.
Thank you. Mr. Navy.
Well, I agree with Steve about the placards. I really do. But I guess my question was, did you all have to pay tickets?
No, they gave us a free buy on that one. They said, just don't do it again.
Okay. Well, no, I no, you know, if we do it for law enforcement, we should do it for you all. I would have offered, you know, our parking garage, but it's so raggedy, you all don't want to park in it either.
Far away. Okay, Ms. Domingue?
Thank you, Eric, for being here tonight. And one thing that I'm absolutely passionate about is downtown Homa. And I actually had a meeting today with Mr. Pulaski about some improvements that we can make to downtown and some improvements we can make to parking. And so what I'm going to ask is Mr. Pulaski, on that long list of things that we talked about today, could we possibly add to improve some of that parking as well in that area? Because it is a problem, and it's not just a problem for you guys, it's a problem for everybody. And so we're making strides, and we started, and then this thing COVID happened, and so we got stopped. And so one of my goals for the remainder of this term and my term is that we are going to make some improvements to downtown and make some improvements to parking. So thank you so much for everything that you do, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, ma'am.
See no further lights. Thank you, Eric. I think we've got your problem solved.
So don't park there tomorrow morning, maybe in the afternoon? Is that what I'm...
Okay, moving on. I have another speaker cord, Mr. Anthony Rainey. State your name and address for the record, please.
Anthony Rainey, 3593 Highway 316, Gray, Louisiana. I have a couple concerns about it. I serve on Rec District 1 board, and we've been having some questions come, to our office and concerning the gym supervisors and the hours of operation of the gyms. And we've been having some problems with the sign-ups, and I was here Monday night, but I wasn't able to speak, okay? And then I went to the advisory board meeting last night, too, and I saw Ms. Domingue and Mr. Guidry, and I saw Mr. Amity. My question is the recreation budget is in a bind? Because we're cutting the hours to the kids of the gymnasiums. The gymnasium is only being open 4 hours Monday through Thursday. The kids are not allowed to go in the gyms on Friday, Saturday, or Sundays. I know we've been in a pandemic. We have taken away the kids' summer already. Every kid don't go to Friday night football, okay? So we need to open these facilities back up so we can get the kids off of the streets. Okay, we don't want them breaking into cars. We don't want them on a police beat. We don't want them in a juvenile detention center. So we need to try to see why are these hours being cut to the public? Are we starting to cut, programs to the public now? And another thing too is we had, like Mr. Babin said, for 20 years we had problem with recreation. Well, fine and dandy, okay. But we had a program to where if I had 2 kids signing up for football, basketball, baseball, my second child would get a $2-3 credit. Mr. Ryder Real has taken that away. So I want to know, is the recreation budget is in a bind to that we had to start cutting programs to the kids of Terrebonne Parish? And when I was here Monday night, I heard a lot of y'all was very adamant about the kids being taken care of. So I'm just asking y'all, could we open these gyms back up, and improve these hours? These gym supervisors not making, $1 million a year. So and that is my problem that I'm having right now, because I want these kids and I want these facilities open. And we didn't close the facilities, but we tell our people in our area that we have to follow the guidelines of the governor or whatever, or the parish president. But I'm thinking, since these gyms been closed since April or March, we ought to have money in the budget to keep these gyms open on a Friday or Saturday morning if the kids want to go play basketball or do whatever.
Mr. Michel.
Mr. Rainey, to your knowledge, who is dictating the hours of the gym?
The parish recreation director.
Okay, why is that? If it's rec district facility.
From my understanding, the millage is, the parish has the millage. They pay the gym supervisors, not the rec districts. The parish pays the rec supervisors, the gym supervisors. Y'all have a millage for that. That's not the rec district responsibility.
Okay.
You done, Mr. Bishop? Okay. Ms. Domain.
Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Rainey.
Yes, ma'am.
And I can't necessarily comment on the budget because I don't have it in front of me, so I don't know what it is. But what I can acknowledge is that we have some problems with recreation in Terrebonne Parish. And that's why I created the Recreation Modernization Task Force, is so that we can look at these issues together. And so next time I encourage you, get a speaker card and speak to the task force and explain to them what your concerns are. That way they can look at it whenever they break out in their sessions, because that's what they're there for, is to look at these problems and look at how we're gonna find some solutions for it. So I encourage you, our next meeting is on October 27th. And so I encourage you, come on out, get a speaker card, and speak to them and let them know what your concerns are. That way we can fix it.
Okay, well, that's why I'm here tonight. But my problem is, I'm thinking, and I may be wrong, and you may be right, but the parish director should be opening these gyms up. I've been to every advisory board meeting. We ask questions about the gyms, and we never get a straightforward answer. So that's why I'm coming here. You see, and I go to all the advisory board meetings. I was there Monday night. I was here. Tuesday night I was at the Civic Center, and I'm here again tonight. So I want to see what can we do from this department. That's where the problem is at.
Can I ask you who is the rec director in that area?
Mr. Rodney LaRue is the recreation director.
He's the TPR director. Who's the director of recreation?
He controls those gym supervisors. He pays the gym supervisors.
Okay.
And it's only about $9 an hour.
Yeah, if it's that much, Mr. Trusclair. So they're not making a whole bunch of overtime or anything else.
Okay, Mr. Harding?
Yes, good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
I didn't attend the modernization task force because we only can go there at certain numbers. But I'm very much aware of what was said. Rec districts are the responsibility of, again, we go through this, and we have gone through this, and for members of the public, and we're going to get to the point that I think I know you're getting to. The rec district are the responsibilities of the building. So, you know what I mean, if Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government owns this building, sometimes we actually have committees come in and they meet in this building, you know what I mean, some people from having committee meetings from other states. So it's the responsibility of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government to actually provide services for these committees to come in and meet in this building. The other factor about that, how the business of that particular committee is being run is under the leadership of the chairman or the leader, or Mr. Roddy position as Terrebonne Parish Recreation Director. I did read the budget. Now the recreation is not in the hole, but then I'm very much aware there have been cuts in the opportunities of providing services of personnel, people having to do the work. I don't know the reasoning why some of the situations have been cut. Maybe it's due to of lack of participation because of COVID. It may be a question that we have to ask Mr. Roddy why he cut certain personnel, such as the gym supervisors, or the opportunity. And my colleagues should understand also, if Mr. Amadi, who's part of Recreation 1 along with you, if they decide to open that gym up at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's they're providing services. But it has, in order for the services to be provided for by Terrebonne Parish Recreation to have a sanctioned games. I think for recreation, you have to have someone that's actually understand the principles. So that's where we're at, is being Mr. Rydell sending someone over there to actually work there. I had a baseball team. The second part of you asked me about, I had a baseball team. I had a conversation about this just yesterday. It's the fact that I know several people in my district, and I've actually witnessed this as the coach. It's the fact that if someone has 4 children participating in all the sports, and it's not to participate in the sport, it's actually for the insurance within the sports. The parish provides the recreation for free, even the shirts. So it's not really that, it's really for the insurance. But then I understand the point because some of the people are economically deprived. And I would go along with perhaps that those thoughts to actually give a discount for having more than one kid. You know what I mean? Whether you have a single parent that's running the household, or you have 2 parents that actually not making enough. 4 kids playing on the same football team, you know, that's $80. You know what I mean? So $80 can go a long way. You know what I mean? I was talking to one of the ex-councilmen, and we was making a joke about a deceased uncle. Is the fact that we used to joke about egg and rice, but a belly full is a belly full. So we want to be able to provide services that are affordable, and so whenever we have an opportunity, we should subsidize some of these opportunities that we want to provide for the kids. I appreciate your efforts, and I will actually personally look off into it and perhaps answer the question for you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. And I'm going to say one thing before we go any further. If I'm not 100% sure on the total, but I think each director from the gym kind of look between. I agree with you. It's going to take some getting used to. Each director of the gyms are, I think it might be 1 or 2 full-time directors. The rest of them are rated part-time.
Yep.
So they don't allow them to work 32 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think that's kind of some of the problems of not getting these gyms open longer than what they are. And but that's, I'm just putting that out there for information.
Yeah.
I'm not, look, I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, because when I did my research, some of the gyms are open from 4 to 8 and 5 to 9. Because some of the gym supervisors is part-time position, they have full-time jobs in the daytime. So if that ain't but Monday through Thursday ain't but 20 hours
That's
a week.
what I'm saying. They're not utilizing all their time even. So that, I'm agreeing with you on that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got some more lights. Mr. Navy?
Yeah, and Mr. Rainey, that's one of the biggest problems. And to be honest with you, Jessica just alluded to, it's a lot of inconsistency. And consistency has been here for the longest. I think someone mentioned earlier that we've been talking about rec for 20 plus years, and that's absolutely correct. Those gym supervisors, on the other hand, is governed under the rec department with the parish. But once again, the right hand don't know what the left hand doing because there's no communication among those gym supervisors and what's going on in those rec districts a lot of times, and that's sometimes be the problem. But I tell you one thing, and I agree with what you was talking about, opening up those gyms. And this is not directed at the parish administration or the parish government, but if you can open up bars, then you can open up rec facilities for these kids, okay? Me and Mr. Dirk Gidger have been working very hard to get this splash park. We got a beautiful splash park that we can't even open up under phase 3, and I don't understand why. But, you know, we got a splash park we can't open up, and Chris got some other stuff that he's about to do out there with some things that we're going to do great for the parish. And it's beginning to make me wonder where we at with that. But if we can open up bars, which I have no decision on, I think we can open up these rec facilities, and I think they could open up that splash park, let those kids play. You know, you could put some safe measures in place, just like you did with the bars and et cetera, et cetera. You can do it with rec facilities, you could do it with recreation activities, the same thing. So that's my take on it, but I look forward for me and Mr. Gidry, Dirk Gidry, they're cutting that ribbon to the beautiful splash park that everybody keeps saying, when we gonna open? So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Navy. Mr. Michel?
Yeah, I wish we had invited Mr. Larill to be here. Well, what are the hours right now? What are the hours?
The hours for my investigation are from Monday through Thursday. Some of the gyms are 4 to 8, and some of them are 5 to 9. That's Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
So you have no. From my understanding, my investigation, the gym supervisor had been instructed not to open on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Okay, and without you speaking for Mr. Larill, since he's not here, have y'all discussed it with Mr. Larill?
Yes, we can't get a direct answer. He said the budget. Everything is a budget cut.
Okay, all right.
So that's why I'm here tonight to see if the budget is in dire strait that we cutting services to people in our area, our kids, at least our youth.
Okay, I appreciate you being here, and we have those gyms. They're assets for the kids, and they're no good to us if they're not open.
Yes,
So,
sir.
we'll look into it some more. Thank
Yes,
you for
sir.
coming.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Michelle. Mr. Babin?
Yeah, I think that question was answered, but you telling me, Mr. Rainey, that it's your understanding that all the gyms throughout the parish is basically just Monday through Thursday? So we have no gyms in the parish opening on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday?
No, sir.
That's a shame.
Yes,
Okay,
that
that
I
is
agree.
a shame. Because right off the bat, it sounded like it was just in District 1. That's why.
No,
That's
it's
why I
throughout the whole
want to make
parish.
sure this is a systemic problem throughout the parish. Then,
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if we're saying it's not a budget problem, then we need to take a look at this. And as everyone else has said up here, we need to get our children back. I can tell you, and I called. Again, I'll just reference this. I called Rec 9 today, which is one that I represent. Mulberry Park put up a basketball court, and they have not. Naturally, it was brand new. They kept the goals off because of the pandemic. Well, now that things have loosened up, they have the goals on there now. The basketball court is utilized every
day.
afternoon and all weekends. It's absolutely beautiful to see, and it's from little kids to teenagers playing basketball games. So I feel where you're coming from, and I think we need this council and administration needs to look at this very seriously.
Yes, sir.
If we have to limit, let's at least limit it on a 7-day basis, not just on a 4-day basis. Okay?
Yes.
Because that leads these children on those other days to maybe doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Darren Guidry?
Yeah, and I support my fellow councilmen in their efforts to serve the public and these particular gymnasiums. I just happen to not have a gym to even worry about being open Monday through Friday, much less Saturday, Sunday in my district, but that's a whole nother story. But there is one in Recreation District 2-3 that
Yes, you have Lisa Park. We have 3 in our area. We have Oakshire, Andrew Price, and Shreveport.
yeah.
So we have 3 in our area.
So yeah, I agree. We need more opportunities. Of course, the problem I've always said about Lisa Park is it's on school board property, and during the school day,
Yeah,
it's
they can't
not
use
open
it, yeah.
for shift workers who get off 7 days and want to go play, in the afternoon doing school. So yeah, that's a whole nother problem. But I unfortunately don't have any gyms in my district to complain about. Otherwise, I'd be chiming along. But I do support my fellow
Right,
council members.
and not to cut you off, Mr. Gidget, but it's just not the gyms. It's all the facilities. It's the baseball. It's all the parks. The swing sets, everything.
They're not open on weekends?
Well, they're open, yeah. But I'm
Oh.
just saying, we just need to open everything up so we can get
Gotcha.
those kids.
Amen.
The idle mind's gonna go to doing some other things.
Amen.
So,
Thank you for coming.
yes, sir. All right.
Oh, man. All right, I think I got it. Okay, moving on to committee reports. Accept the minutes of the Terrebonne Parish. Wait, is that where we at? Did that one. Wait, we just did the, okay, that was the last one. Okay, we need to go back to, we are regular order. Okay, good. Committee reports accept the minutes of the Terrebonne Parish Sales and Use Tax Advisory Board meeting dated September 24th, 2020, and consider ratification of their actions relative to. Item 1, recommendation to accept the 2019 financial audit report as prepared by Bourgeois and Bennett. Question, Suzette, do we vote each individual or all of them? All together, okay. Item 2, recommendation by the board that Ms. Brandy Fontenot be appointed to replace Mr. Daigle as Director of Sales and Use Tax Department upon Mr. Daigle's retirement. And item 3, recommendation by the board that Ms. Fontenot's salary be set at the same level as Mr. Daigle's departing salary. You want to speak before? I got a motion by Mr. Darren Guidry and a second by Mr. Danny Babin.
Okay, I know Ms. Thomas said we can vote on these issues together, and that's the wishes of the council. But okay, number 3, recommendation by the board. Mean that what board? Use tax boards. So they voted to put Ms. Fontenot's salary to be set at the same level as the guy that's retiring salary. Am I reading that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
She's taking his place.
I understand he taking his place, but how long he's been there and what's his salary? I mean, is it in the backup? I'm sorry. Candy, you wouldn't have that? Oh, who's in the audience? I'm sorry. I'm curious.
Hang on, Mark. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, you got the mic.
Yeah.
Mark Digg, 2217 Nixon Drive.
Yeah, and thank you for your service. I'm I guess retirement is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah,
when it's time
let's
to go.
hope so.
But I'm not trying to put you on the spot. And I'm pretty sure you've been there maybe 30 plus years.
Yes.
Okay, and the person behind you is your assistant. And how long she's been there?
She's been there 20 years.
20 years.
20,
Okay.
yes.
And I'm not trying to be a bad person about all this, but I'm just trying to figure out what is her salary now and what is your salary?
My salary is 85.9, and I'm not sure what.
It's right over
50 in the 50s.
50s?
In the 50s, yes.
In the 50s?
Yes.
Okay. You the director and your salary 80 something?
Yes.
Man, you should be sitting where these guys at, man.
But that's the same process that was taken when I took over the department.
Okay. I'm good with it then. I mean, first of all, I'll be honest with you. I think as a director, I think your salary is pretty low, but
I agree.
yeah,
That's why you're retired.
So I'm gonna support it because I think it sounds very low. I thought you were one of those 120, 130 people,
No.
Okay. All right. No problem. I appreciate it. Congratulations. Thank you, man.
Okay, you want to speak before we vote? Okay, hang on. Let me get your light on. Hang on.
You can say that if you want. I'm just gonna miss running into you in the hall because I can tell you every time I came to my council office, we met in the elevators, either going up or going down. And I'm gonna miss that. Enjoy your retirement. You deserve it.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Darren Guidry.
I agree the same. You stole my thunder. Enjoy your retirement. And I also agree with Mr. Navy that, not a lot of people in our parish aren't paid what they're worth. And, so yeah, I have no problem with this at all. But I believe now the Sales Tax Advisory Board, this is made up of all the different entities. Is this something we have to approve, but does all the other entities have to approve it? The Sheriff's Department, the school board, and all the entities that...
I believe that they all have to be notified.
Okay.
As far as it goes, you have the school board superintendent, school board president, vice president that serve on the board, as well as Terrebonne Parish president, council chair, and budget and finance chair. And there is a representative from the sheriff's office, the library board, and levy district. So of course, everybody that receives sales tax is part of this advisory board that was there when this decision was made. So this council is just ratifying what decision.
Thank you, Candace.
Okay, Mr. Harding.
Yeah, and not to be too personal, Mr. Dago, and no offense to the young lady, it's actually you're leaving. I'm pretty sure that she's well qualified to take your position because I don't hear nobody else is being considered for the job. It was only my question because Mr. Navy had brought something out. At what range on the chart are you now? Yeah, I that's all I wanted to know. It's just, she's going to go from where she is to mid-range. Okay. Thank you.
Just a point of order for the record, he said 114. He wasn't Mike, just if anybody's listening. Thanks.
Mr. Navy.
No, he mentioned it. That's
Okay.
fine.
All right, seeing no further lots, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mark, on your retirement. And Ms. Brandy, welcome aboard. Good luck. Thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Thanks for a raise.
Wait till John's not here. Okay, item B, Public Service Committee, Mr. Harding.
I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Public Service Committee meeting held on October 12, 2020, which called for 6 public hearings. Number 1, to authorize the acquisition and site or servitudes required for the Bayou Terrebonne Drainage Project. Authorize parish president to execute any and all documents necessary to acquire sites and or servitudes for said properties. To authorize the parish legal staff to commence expropriation proceedings in the event that the site and or servitudes cannot be obtained conventionally, to declare that the taking, if required, is necessary or useful for the benefit of the public, to provide for other matters related thereto, and call for a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Number 2, to authorize the acquisition of sites or servitudes required for the Bayou Terrebonne Dredging Project. Authorize the parish president to execute any and all documents necessary to acquire sites or servitudes for said properties. To authorize the parish legal staff to commence explorations proceedings in the event that the site or servitudes cannot be obtained conventionally, to declare that the taking, if required, is necessary or useful for the benefit of the public, to provide for other matters relative thereto, and call for a hearing on said matters Wednesday, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Number 3, ratify and acknowledge the intergovernmental agreement between the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office for the use of what is commonly known as the Rifle Range, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Number 4, to authorize the use and vitriol tract of property lying between Fargo Canal Road and Fargo Canal, identified as parcel number 42536, Terrio, Louisiana, as per the Terrebonne Parish Assessor's records in connection with the Coastal Protection Restoration authorizes project number TE-0138, the Bayou Decad Ridge and Marsh by Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, to Apollo Environmental Strategy is Incorporated. Authorize the parish president to execute any and all corporate endeavors and agreements and any and all documents necessary to use of the afford reference premise, and to provide for the other matters relative thereto, and call on a public hearing of said matter Wednesday, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Number 5, to amend the parish code, Terrebonne Parish, pursuant to the authorities of section 4-13 of the Home Rule Charter by amending Chapter 2, administrating Article 4, administrative organizational structure, section 2-87 organizational chart, to update the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government organizational chart, and call on a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Finally, number 6, to amend the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinance, Chapter 5, Animals, to provide the additional for procedural rules for dangerous, vicious dogs administrative hearing, and to call for a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m.
Have a motion by Mr. Harding. Second, Ms. Domang. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Budget Finance, Mr. Navy.
I make a motion that the council rescind agenda item 5. Consider the introduction of an ordinance to amend the compensation plan of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government so to adjust the structure of executive positions. Calling the public hearing on said matter Wednesday, October the 28th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting held on October the 12th, 2020, which calls 2 public hearing to amend the 2020 adopted operating budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. Juvenile Detention Department, $500,000. Parish Prisoner Department, $1,016,600. Public Safety Fund, $2 million. Roads and Bridges Department, $215,000. Criminal Court Fund, $292,742. Home and Fire Department, $5,957. CARE Act Transit, $6,043,127. Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement Juvenile Detention Department, $57,215. And calling the public hearing on said matter, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m.
Motion by Mr. Navy.
Oh,
You ready
wait,
for something?
wait, yep. To amend ordinance number 9075 due to mutual agreement to terminate the corporate endeavor agreement with Options for Independence for the donation of 11 surplus adjudicated properties and call a public hearing on said matter on October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m.
Your motion, Mr. Navy. Second, Mr. Harding. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item D, an add-on to introduce an ordinance to amend the compensation plan of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government so as to adjust the structure of the executive positions to add the new position of the Director of Solid Waste, Solid Hazardous, and Recycling Waste Department. Public once. Public twice. Public 3 times. Motion to close. Mr. Davin. Second, Mr. Darren Guidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion by Mr. Darren Guidry, second Mr. Gerald Michelle. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Okay. Pursuant to 42:19A 1CC and a unanimous vote, the council may consider a motion to add on to the agenda. Okay, Dirk. I'm sorry, let me get your light on. Okay.
Okay, introduction of an ordinance to amend the compensation plan for the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government as to adjust the structure of the executive positions to add the new position of the Director of Solid and Hazardous Waste Recycling Department. We have to have unanimous vote? Yeah, cool.
Public once, public twice, public 3 times. Motion to close, Mr. Babin. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. Second, Mr. Gerald Michelle. Suzette, you got your light on?
No, you'll do this wrong.
Making was the motion to go ahead and introduce the ordinance because Darren has already done the motion to add on. So your next motion would have been the motion to go ahead and introduce the ordinance and call the public hearing, which is the motion that Dirk was making. So you vote on that and that is going to call the public hearing. And then y'all can go back to the next one to return to the regular order business. You follow? Okay, so what happened was,
Okay, an introduction of an ordinance to amend the compensation plan of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government as to adjust the structure of the executive positions to add the new positions of Director of Solid, Hazardous, and Recycling Waste Department and call a public hearing on Wednesday, October 28, 2020 at 6:30 p.m.
and that's your motion that you're considering.
Okay, so motion, Mr. Dirk Guidry, second, Mr. Danny Babin. Now we got We've done the public hearing already.
Yeah,
Okay.
your public hearing will actually be held on October 28th.
Right.
Because
Okay.
you're calling the hearing.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Motion to return regular order, Mr. Darren Gidry, second, Mr. John Amity, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Say it again.
Okay.
Streetlights, as per Mr. Jeremy Shell, second by Mr. John Navy, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. Rec District Number 4, 2 expiring terms. Janie Wazan wishes to be reappointed.
I can make a motion to open, close, and appoint Ms. Wazan and hold the other over for 2 weeks.
We have a motion by Mr. Babin and a second by Mr. Michel to appoint Ms. Wazan and hold the other position open. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item B is the Coastal Zone Management Restoration, 4 expiring terms. Angela Porte, Jan Rogers, Mickey Thomas, and Jeff DeBlue express their interest in being reappointed. Motion for Mr. Gidry to reappoint. Second, Mr. Danny Babin. We, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item C. Bikane Fire Protection District, 1 vacancy due to resignation. Mr. Haywood Sims Jr. submits an application resume for consideration. Open, close the poll, Mr. Darrell Michel, second by Mr. Darren Gidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Okay, item D has a typo in it. I'm gonna read it and I'll mention the typo when I get to it. Terrebonne Parish Recreation Modernization Advisory Board, 1 voting member to be appointed. Recreation District Number 6 Representative Dakota Fitch submits an application for consideration, and instead of voting member, it should be another representative from District 6. Suzette Lafont submits an application and resume for consideration. Open, close, and vote. Mr. Jeremy Shell, second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carried. Ms. LaCock?
Mr. Harding? Mr. Michel? Mr. Amity? Ms. Domingue? Mr. Darren Gidry? Mr. Babin? Mr. Dirk Gidry? Mr. Charles Clare?
Fitch.
Mr. Navy? Mr. Chairman, there are 5 votes for Fitch, and there are 4 votes for Lafont.
Congratulations, Mr. Fitch. He's not in the audience, so moving on. Home Board of Zoning Adjustments, 1 vacancy. Alternate member, Ms. Angele Bransall, withdraws her application from consideration. Motion to hold, Mr. Danny Babin. Second, Mr. Jeremy Shaw. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Vacancies to various boards, committees, and commissions. Coastal Fire District, 2 unexpired terms due to resignation. Rec District 3A, 1 vacancy due to expired term. Tree Board, 1 vacancy due to resignation. 911 Communications District, 1 vacancy due to resignation. Airport Commission, 2 expiring terms, 10/15/20 and 11/28/20. Recreation District Number 5, 2 expiring terms, 11/27/20. Recreation District Number 7, 1 expiring term, 11/27/20. Houma Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, 1 expiring term, 12/31/20. Terrebonne Art, 2 vacancies due to resignation. 1 nominated by the Terrebonne Art membership and 1 representing the Ministerial Association. Houma Downtown Development Corporation, 5 expiring terms, 11/30/20. 1 representing the Historical Society, Parish President, Garden Clubs, and 2 representing the Parish Council. Terrebonne Port Commission, 3 expiring terms. Houma Terrebonne Regional Planning Commission, 1 expiring term, 11/30/20, and 1 vacancy due to resignation. Children and Youth Services Planning Board, 12 expiring terms, 11/05/20. Representing the Sheriff, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, one faith-based organization, one social services, one Terrebonne Parish Juvenile Detention Center, Office of Juvenile Justice, one in education, Bayou Area Children's Foundation, Department of Health and Hospitals, Office of Behavioral Health, Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office, Options for Independence, Gulf Coast Teaching and Family Services, and the Houma Police Department. Announcements. Council members, Mr. Amity.
Yes, I want to make a plug for our library. As you know, we have an award-winning library system, and many people are studying their ancestry and paying for services like Ancestry.com. Well, you'll be happy to know that if you go to the library, to the main library on the second floor, you can use that service for free. They also offer some help with that you can make an appointment if you want to do some one-on-one consultations and training. So you can schedule an appointment with the main library, and I encourage everybody to do that and take advantage of what's available to you through the award-winning Terrebonne Parish Library System. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amity. Ms. Domingue.
Yeah, thank you. This is more of a question than an announcement, and this is for Mr. Pulaski. I know that the census, we came up to the deadline, but I read somewhere that the census was expired. So can you maybe provide some education to the public about that?
Sure, it's jumped around a little bit. So initially, the deadline was October 31st, and then in late September, the administration changed the deadline to October 5th. And then there was some pushback, and I think there were some court rulings in California. Anyway, they moved it back to the 31st, and then yesterday, the administration announced that they were closing it today. So you've got till 11:59 to fill out your census
So
if you haven't
Terrebonne
already.
Parish, please, if you have not filled out your census, do so tonight. It's very, very important, and you've heard me for several weeks talk about the importance of that. But please fill out your census today. Thank you, Mr. Pulaski.
MyCensus.gov.
Census.gov.
MyCensus2020.gov.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Domingue and Mr. Pulaski. Mr. John Navy.
Now, I just want to give a plug out to Candace and the administration. I'm understanding we kept our bond rating pretty decent, pretty steady, where other parishes are really struggling in the area, especially the coastal parishes. But I wanted to congratulate you all for that and the fine work that you do. Even though we argue a lot, but I just want to compliment you on that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And yes, we went through the bond rating call for the bonds that we are trying to issue within the next couple weeks, and they affirmed the AA that we had. And we also had a re-rating. So those are on our public improvement bonds, our sales tax bonds. We also had a re-rating on our ones for the general obligation bonds, which are our property tax bonds, and they affirmed the same rating as well. So very good. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. Job well done. Mr. Danny Babin.
Yeah, Monday night I mentioned something about someone actually on the Shrimpers Row area that had dumped a good bit of trash into a drainage ditch prior to the storm. Further checking into this, I've spoken to Mr. Abear about it a little, Mr. Pulaski about it, Clay Nakan, to Mr. Gordy Dove, President Gordy Dove. I just want you council people to know that I've found out there's about 5 or 6 people in this parish that we'll call them hoarders, whatever word you want to use, that are violating this in this parish. And it's not just in Council District 7. I know Mr. Guidry has some. I'm not sure if Mr. Navy doesn't have one in his district also. And again, I'm just finding this out today. I want to get more information, and I will bring it to this council because we need to go after people like this. We have a great solid waste department. All they have to do is call, and things are picked up, or they could bring it to the dump for free, but yet they choose to throw it in the drainage ditches before a hurricane. That is unconscionable to me. But just know that it's not just in the buyer communities. It's happening throughout Terrebonne Parish, and we need to address that to make our parish a much better parish. So
Thank you,
thank
Mr.
you.
Babin. Mr. Navy.
Yeah, I passed the illegal dumping ordinance, and Chris, you're gonna several years ago. But since you're making that comment, I want to make a comment about the fact that also just that illegal trash, debris, and stuff like that. I'm constantly calling Chris about derelict vehicles and also blighted, junky property of people. Since you mentioned people that's in this parish on certain boards in this parish that really have they cause a lot of trash and debris and other areas of this community that's really bad. And I think we need to address that. If you're going to serve on this parish and serve on these boards, just because you may know somebody, know councilmen or you know parish president or whatever, you're not being negated from the responsibility of taking care of this parish. Now, don't make me have to start calling names out, because I will, because at the end of the day, you need to take care of that stuff in this parish and stop making this parish look trashy and junky. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navy. Mr. Dirk Gidry.
Yeah, and I understand that, Danny. I have a problem, and I seen Mr. Pulaski, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And we, the parish, paid to get this guy's trash picked up out of his front yard, and the dump is back to the same way it was. Not quite as bad, but it's pretty close. But I've seen Mr. Pulaski's department, I think it was week before last, back taking pictures, so I hope we're getting something done. And if they keep it up, let's take their houses from them, do something, because this is right at the beginning when you come into Chauvin, you know what I mean? It's a very big eyesore, and Mr. Babbitt gives me trouble about it every time he comes to my pizza place about I can't keep my district clean. So, Mr. Pulaski, could you help me so Mr. Babbitt don't keep getting on my... Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Danny Babbitt.
And just one other thing, you touched on a very good point. We have a litter ordinance. John just brought that up, okay? And I don't mean to imply this in any other way except the way I'm gonna say it. Evidently, we're not doing a good enough job at it. And if we need to put more meat into an ordinance to take care of this, then I'm more than glad to sit down with you, Jules, and everyone else to find out how we can put more meat into this and find these people. Listen, they're making money off of all this stuff. They're buying stuff, they're taking the stuff they can sell, and then they throwing the stuff in our ditches, okay? So we need to make the penalty fit the crime. And with this hurricane and seeing that in there, it really got me upset. So let's try to work together on this one, please.
Thank you. And for myself, I just want to remind everyone to keep our law enforcement, first responders, firefighters, active military, and veterans in your thoughts and prayers daily. And I have Mr.
I just want to tell everybody out there, God bless America, and may God forever bless you and yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Butler Engineer reports. That's per Mr. Dirk Gidry. Second, Mr. John Amity. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion adjourned, Mr. Derek Gidry. Second by Ms. Domang. All in favor? Any opposition? Good evening. Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen.